Good evening, everybody. On a Friday, a sunny Friday as well. It is, like, I hope you've enjoying the cricket, the Wimbledon. Andy Murray just gone out, which is disappointing. And these Aussies are causing us a few problems in the cricket, and I don't know how that's going to go at this moment in time. But that's all the negatives. We'll look about the positives. Arsenal. I can't believe the positives around Arsenal at the moment. Every time something breaks or there's some news and all that, it's all positive, guys. It's fantastic, isn't it? Great to see Arsenal being positive. And I don't know about how everybody feels, but I've always dreaded the transfer windows and things like that. But at the moment, every time there's breaking news, I'm really looking forward to it. It's been fantastic so far this summer. Kyle, or shall I say Cal Havertz has signed. Not everybody's happy about that one, but for me, I'm quite optimistic about how that one will go. But let's just talk about it. I think the biggest signing of all the summer for me is William Saliba. I think it's a massive signing for us because I know that bit worried about it going into the last year of his contract, but listen, I think he's done fantastically well last season. I was blown away by him when I see him in America last year. Couldn't believe how good this guy was, and 21 then, he's now 22, of course. Unbelievable. But to tie him up to a long-term deal, I think it's a very positive move for Arsenal. I think, if I'm being really honest, and it's only my opinion, we can all debate this and all that, but if I was to put my mortgage on one of our young guns becoming a genuine world-class player, for me it's Saliba. I really do. I think he's got all the attributes to be a world-class player. Of course, Xhaka has, and of course Martinelli has, and Odegaard and everything like that. But for me, Saliba is a massive signing for us, and really just pushing on to the more positive things that were going there. Of course, we've got Martinelli was I think the first of the young guns to commit. Then of course Saka, and I also think it's maybe going under the radar a little bit, but I think Reece Nelson will be a very good fit as well. I think he's done particularly well every time he came into the team last season. And listen, you've got to have top players. We know that, but you've also got to have players that can come in and do it from a squad perspective. And I think that's a very good move for him. Talking yesterday, and I think this is a good question. I'll put it out there for the moment for you guys. You got a new shirt coming out, and what name would you have on the shirt? I just don't know at the moment. 5 years ago, I wouldn't have put anybody's name on the shirt. Definitely been blank. But now, I really don't know. If I was to be given a shirt or buy a shirt and they said, right, you've got to put a number on it, I honestly would be, I don't know, it would be a real difficult decision. I think, I'm a massive, as I just said, massive fan of Saliba. I really like Ben White as a player as well. So there's two straight away from the defensive point of view. Aaron Ramsdale, by the way, Aaron Ramsdale's goalkeeping shirt is the first time a goalkeeping shirt has ever been sold out, and that to order more in. That just shows you how fantastic he's doing. But also, I think it's something to do with the black shirt, but fantastic as well. Then you go into the midfield. You've now got Declan Rice coming. Let's talk a little bit about Declan Rice coming in. What sort of statement is that going to be when he comes in? Where's he going to play? Is he going to play as a holding midfielder, or is he going to play as a box-to-box? Now, a few of my West Ham mates have saying that, use him as a box-to-box player, and I think that maybe that's something that they will do. I'm not so sure, but what a fantastic player he is. And yes, we spent big money on him, but there you go. That's what you have to do to get the big players in. And when have Arsenal really been in the running for one of the top players in this country before? I'll go back to Rio Ferdinand, Wayne Rooney, when they was up for grabs. We wasn't even in the equation. Now we're in the equation, and not only that, we're going and getting those sort of players, and I think it's a massive statement. So Declan Rice is another one you can have there. Martinelli is obviously, Saka, Jesus. I think maybe even drop down the pecking order a little bit, Jesus, but I don't know why, because maybe like all these players, but definitely one of my favourite players as well, Martin Odegaard. There's so many players now that you can say are your favourites, and even players that are not playing and so much. Dan, of course, on the show, of course, is a big Tierney fan and would probably have Tierney on the back. So it just shows you where this team has come and this club has come over the last sort of 2-3 years. It's really on the up. And not just the men's, by the way. Look at the women's side of it all, Arusa signing, I mean, that is an unbelievable signing. Unbelievable signing. I was going to spend £500,000 on her in January, and then it didn't go through, and done their work and got her for nothing, which is incredible, So not only is the men's team really going for it, the women's team are going for it as well. I actually followed the women quite a bit last season, and if it weren't for injuries, I think we would have probably won thing. But of course, we lost all our best players through injuries last season. So, but we still give it a good go. We won the League Cup, but we didn't get through in the Championship and the Champions League. But listen, what have they gone and done? They've gone and spent big and got in a couple of players already. So they're making moves. The whole club seems to be on the up, and the atmosphere in the stadium last season was fantastic. And it really, really is boding well for the future. I think we're all looking forward to the beginning of the season. The tour starts, of course, next week. Of course, next Thursday. So in 6 days' time, we have our first game in Germany. Of course, we fly out over the weekend, I do believe. I don't know if the likes of Declan Rice and, of course, Timber. I forgot about Timber. He's another one that's apparently had his medical today and passed and everything like that. Will be flying out before they're sort of unveiled. I'm not so sure, so we'll have to wait and see on that. But both having their medicals today, and hopefully we'll be on the plane to Germany. And then obviously not going to be playing in that, but it's good to get into a bit of training. Of course, then they come back, and then I think they come back on the Friday and fly out on the Monday on the American tour. So some real positive things from there, and it's really, really looking very, very strong going into that pre-season. That's a good thing. Again, we've got our players sorted out in the pre-season, which is fantastic. One little bit of bad news, I think it's bad news, but understandable, I suppose, is that Granit Xhaka, of course, confirmed his exit from the club yesterday. Yeah, after a fantastic season. I thought he was brilliant in the season before that as well, but even better this season. I think it's going to be missed. If I'll be really honest, I think he will be missed. But I think he probably got a long-term contract in Germany, probably more than what it was at Arsenal. I'm surprised he didn't stay for another season and give the Champions League a bash. But, we have to look at it and say that that he's gone. And what a turnaround, by the way, isn't it? I think everybody's a little bit disappointed that Granit Xhaka's gone. I wouldn't have said that a couple of years ago. But these things happen in football, and we have to accept it when you're a big club. Sometimes you have to let players go. But he's done fantastically well for us over the last couple of years, and I think that everybody gives him his blessing on the way that he's conducted himself over the last couple of years and the way he's played. As I said, I think he's going to be missed. I really do. But he likes a bit of fly on the wall in the conversations with him about next season and beyond, because maybe Mikel has, showed him what sort of players are going to be coming here, and maybe he felt that he wasn't going to get as many games. I don't know. It's an interesting one, that, Just talking to Dave before we come on, we said, who do we think will win the league next season? And Dave said, surprise, Manchester City. And also, I said at this moment in time, even though we've made these signings, they're exciting signings, they're really, really good, I think Manchester City will still be favourites. I think if Arsenal are to maybe nick another couple of players, then I do think that maybe we're going to be in with a chance of winning it, So it'll be really, really interesting. Sorry, I'm going to sneeze. A bit of dust. I don't know where that come from. It must be the old gardener is here, mowing the lawn. So that's what that is. So I still think there's a bit of work to be done, bit of where I still think we're a little bit weak in midfield, because I don't know how you guys feel about this. I still think with the Champions League coming in next season. I do think that we're still a little bit short in numbers. But listen, another positive. Just remind under 21 game. England, of course, in the final, and one of the stars of that tournament so far has been Emil Smith Rowe. Obviously, hasn't played a lot for us last season for injuries, but has got himself fit. Looked a little. What I've seen of it looks a lot leaner, sharp, and really at this moment in time. Now we'll be pushing for a place in the team. So that's all good news as well. So all positive stuff coming out of Arsenal at this moment in time. Every time I see something come on, there's positive stuff. A couple of little things maybe maybe a little bit of a worry. Is that a couple of the coaching staff or backroom staff have gone. Steve Round's gone. Which is a surprise, obviously Mikel knew him from his Everton days and supposed to be a very, very good coach. So that's interesting. Of course, the club doctor also. So couple of little things there, but maybe just moving things on and a little bit freshening things up. So I don't think it's a bad thing. So we'll have to wait and see what comes in on that there. But as I said, very, very interesting few weeks so far. Let's face it, as we said, and I'm pretty sure we all was losing our heads when Man City come in for that bid and everything that. But really got to say at this moment in time, Edu and Mikel and all the transfer team have done fantastically well what they've done. Timber, I think, you're going to hear that song of, I think, a lot next season, coming in, Dutch international. And what I like about all these players, 22, 23, 24 years of age. Kai Havertz, by the way, is 24, he's been around for a very, very long while. And of course, Declan Rice, 24. So we're getting all these players at a real young age. It means that they've got 4, 5, 6, 7 years in front of them and their best time. So I just think very, very positive things coming out of the Arsenal at the moment. And hopefully we're going to be really having a go at it next season. Of course, and also let's talk about, we've got the American tour coming up, which is something to really, really look forward to. Hopefully, if some of you are going on that or you're out there in America, it'd be good to meet you all and have a chat. But if not, we've got the Emirates Cup against Monaco, which would be a good game. And of course, then, we're back at Wembley, guys. The last time we was at Wembley, of course, was the FA Cup final. Unfortunately, no fans were allowed to go. So, it's been a few years since we've been at Wembley, so it'd be a nice little trip back there to go and watch Arsenal at Wembley. It's always a special occasion when we're at Wembley. We got to Wembley. The reason we got there because we come second in the league. So we've done well to get second in the league. Some people say that we should have won it. I concur with that, but at the end of it, you have to give Manchester City credit. But I think realistically, the whole club is on the up, and what we've got to do now, I think, is very, very important. Is set a marker in that game. Go and beat them. And set up a marker. Someone said to me, I think it's 17 league games. We've only won one game against them in 17 league games. The last time we beat them was in the FA Cup semi-final. So realistically, if we're going to go on and push for this title, or push them for the title, we need to start giving them a little slap here and there, at this moment in time, they're certainly doing that with us, some really, really interesting stuff going on in and around other clubs. I don't know if anybody see the Pochettino interview today. I have to say, after watching it and listening to what he's got to say, I do think that Chelsea are going to be a problem next season. I think that they're going to be on the up. I don't think they're going to have enough to maybe challenge, but they're going to be in that hunt for top four, making it more and more difficult. Liverpool. I think Chelsea and Liverpool will look back at this season and think it was very, very disappointing for them. I think they've made a couple of really, really good signings, and they could be pushing for the title and definitely like top four again. Interesting when you look at the top four last season, which was Manchester City coming in at first, Liverpool obviously second, and then there was Chelsea and Spurs. Only Manchester City are in the Champions League this season. All the other three are not in it. So, it's very, very difficult to maintain a Champions League push and a title as well. So all these teams, all these games are going to be really, really difficult for us next season. And even though I'll be disappointed if we're not putting in a challenge, there's no guarantees that we can even get in top four when I'm looking at all these teams and all buying players, all looking to improve. Manchester United haven't really done a lot of business at this moment in time, but Mason Mount's come in and I think that they're going to make 3 or 4 more signings. And you've got to have a little one eye of what's going on down the road as well, because they've got a new manager in and have made a couple of signings. And I think that there's a lot of Arsenal fans would have liked to have had Maddison. Who's a very, very good player. To get in without no European football, they've done well there. So they're going to be in there. Newcastle, I think that they've got a couple of players in, and I think with the way that they're growing, I think it's going to be very, very interesting how they're going to get on with the league, and of course, probably in the same boat as us with the Champions League as well, going on 2 fronts. So it's going to be a really, really interesting few weeks. I think for Arsenal now, it'll be getting some of the players off the books, and then hopefully, Arsenal going for it again. I think it's going to be really interesting there. Irish Gunner there saying, predicting his top 4 there. Arsenal, Liverpool, City and Spurs he's putting in his top 4. Very, very interesting. It will be really, really interesting to see what the top 4 are going to be. I don't really know what my top 4 will be at the moment. At the moment, I think that Manchester City and Arsenal will be in it. But with the Champions League football, I'm not so sure with Manchester United and Newcastle at this moment in time. But, I think that all them 4 teams were certainly a lot better than the rest. But as I just said, Liverpool and Chelsea and Spurs recruiting as well. It's going to be really, really interesting, that top 4 race as well as a title, So the good thing is you can't, just sort of think, well, we've done this and rest on your laurels, because if you do, you get caught out and it could be a disastrous season. Arsenal in a good position going into the season. Got some, I think, winnable games to start off with, some tough home games, but, Manchester United and Spurs coming up early, but we are at home in those games. So I expect us to win them. Tough away game, though, against Crystal Palace as well as Everton in that first 6 games. But 4 at home as well, though, Nottingham Forest, Tottenham, Fulham, I think, is the other one, if I'm off my head, I can remember. And, of course, Man United, Spurs. And so 4 home games, 2 away games. Really got to get the points on the board early doors. Right, okay, so over to Dave now. I think he's got some questions for us, and we'll finish off with him.
Let's do it. Okay, first one is from Ash West. He says that Man United must be worried. What are you thinking of that?
Yeah, I think Man United, I'm not worried about if I was a Man United fan, I wouldn't be too worried, because I think that Man United will spend towards the end of the transfer window. And I think with Man United, a little bit like Arsenal a few years ago, Dave, where they, looking to do their business towards the latter part of the transfer window, which will set them in good steam. If you look last season, they got Casemiro very, very late, didn't they? Certainly the season was going on when they got him. And as soon as they got him, there was a different Man United. But the season already started. So I think that you cannot afford to let Manchester City get a lead on you. And unfortunately for Man United fans, that's what happened last season, and they never really recovered from it. But I think they're a very, very strong side. I think that, as I said, Mason Mount coming in, don't forget they've got some very, very good players at Man United already, and was in the FA Cup final and League Cup final. I wouldn't be dismissing Man United at this moment in time.
Cool. Next one is from Arsenal Forever. A little off-topic question. What's your favourite Arsenal double winning team out of 71, 98 or the 02 squad?
Whoa, what a good question. Well, I don't remember the 71, cheeky sod.
I was about to say that.
98 or 2002. I think the 98 one was fantastic, because obviously it was the first time that I can remember it. But I do think the 2002 squad was definitely a lot bit better and stronger. And to go in 2002 unbeaten away from home, that season, I think was special, and I thought probably that that was the better team. But I think to do it like we did in '98 was special. But if I was to push it, I would say 2001, 2002 team.
Okay. Next one. If Arteta doesn't win anything next season, would it be time for a change? That's a tough question.
That is a tough question. Depends what happens. You know, I mean, if they just narrowly miss out again, I would say no. There's going to be a stage when the pressure and excuses are going to be have to be taken out of the equation. I think a lot of excuses, like myself making them last season, thinking, you know, when we went out of cups early, like, oh, this is because we're going for this. But he's now spending a lot of money. He's bringing in players that he wants. You know, like Declan Rice, I think he's made it clear that's who he wants. Havertz as well. You know what I mean? Obviously, like he's pushed that one through. Timber, you know, but yeah, I do think that the pressure will be on at some stage. But you know, like, listen, if we're mid-table and we miss out on top four, then there's going to be real pressure. But I think it really depends how well we do and how well we go. For me, I think that he's earned a little bit more time now, and it's a good season. One thing I will say though, Dave, is that I don't think that he can have another season like he's had the last two, where we was like really favourites to get into the top four, missed out, and we was favourites to win the title at one stage, and we just crumbled towards the end. We can't get in that position again,
or trophyless, completely trophyless, maybe.
Or completely trophyless. Then the pressure will definitely be on. Yeah.
Okay. Next one, Les Brown. Is it just me, or do you think Arteta will get a tune out of Kai Havertz?
It's going to be really interesting, that one. It's £65 million, which is a lot of money. It's helped Chelsea out as well. I think that's something that don't sit well with me, if I'll be honest. You know, if we'd have got him for 40 million, like Tottenham did for Madison, I'd be a little bit more happy. I'm not worried about the money. But when you're spending that sort of money, it means that you really rate the man. And I think that, listen, I remember when Kai Havertz was leaving, you know, and a lot of Arsenal fans were saying, "Oh, we've got to get him," you know. It's not quite worked out at Chelsea for whatever reason, but obviously he's a good player in him, and let's just hope that Arsenal do get the best out of him.
Cool. The next one. Do you think this is from Stapes 22? Do you think losing Partey and Xhaka is a massive mistake? He does.
Yeah, I don't know so about massive mistake, because I believe, like, you know, I've got the belief in what Arteta does and all that. But to lose both of them would be a big blow for me, because I actually thought at the beginning of the season, if we brought in if we brought in Declan Rice and another one alongside Partey and Xhaka, would be really pushing for everything. But to lose, we knew we was towards the end of the season. We sort of knew we was going to be losing Xhaka, so he sort of accepted it a little bit. Xhaka for Declan Rice, I think, is an upgrade. If we lost Partey, then I'm going to be a little bit worried. The thing with Partey though, Dave, is that he can't play 2 games a week, 1 game a week. He struggled for the last couple of seasons. We've had to rest him for Europa League games, then bring him back, and then when he's not quite fit enough, he's not quite at his game. So that's where I think maybe they're looking to sell him from that point of view. But for me, you know, if we can keep him, it'd be great. But you know, there is a business model to the footballing model as well. You know, this time next season, he'll only have a year left of his contract, and you know, then we'll have to wait. So I think it's a difficult one to see what happens there. But if we're going to let Partey go, then we've got to bring in a real big signing.
Yeah, because this kind of leads on from the previous question. Lee, do you think we still need cover even if Partey stays?
Yes.
That's what he's saying. Even if he stays.
100%, because now we've lost Xhaka. If Partey or Declan Rice get injured, we're back to where we were last season. And it wasn't quite good enough. I think you know, Jorginho come in and done really well for us. But week in, week out, not going to be the answer. But I do think we need one more. I like what Jorginho done towards the end of the season, particularly the game against Newcastle, not just the way he played, but what he said afterwards. It was intimidating, tough place to come, but that's what, what being a top footballer is all about. Quite like what he said there. I think he's going to be very, very good in and around the team, but I still think we need Clubber there. Yeah, definitely, 100%.
Next one is from GB. Can you see our right side of White Timber? I think that's Martin Odegaard and Saka approaching the levels of the legendary left side that we saw us dominate of Cole, Perez, and Henry. So he's talking about White Timber, Odegaard, Saka. Have we caught a lightning in the bottle twice?
Listen, that's a great. That was great when it Ashley Cole down there, Perez, Henry, and of course at times you'd have Edu slipping in there on the left hand side, or Petit, or even Freddie Lundberg sometimes come off of there as well, So, but that's the sort of standard that we've got to be looking to get. That's the sort of play that we need to be getting. I felt on the right hand side last season, Odegaard, Ben White, and Saka were fantastic. I do think that Ben White tired towards the end of the season. We didn't quite get as much out of him. He has to do a tremendous amount of work going up and down. People are sort of saying, that Ben White's not going to be in the team now. I don't believe in that. I think he was superb for us for three quarters of the season. So, but I'm going to be really honest. I've only seen Timber a couple of times. When he's playing for Holland, I'm going to say I didn't look at him and go, "Wow, he's fantastic, really, really good player." But was decent. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But again, I think we need to strengthen on that bit there, because towards the end of the season we was playing Ben White, who was obviously run out of gas. So I think it's another good signing, a good price as well, and we'd be interested. But I think that if we're getting onto those levels, we're going to be pushing, and I don't think can replace when you think about it, Ashley Cole, Robert Perez, and Henry. Whew. And I still moaned at times. Unbelievable.
Lee, do you think we'll buy an out and out striker this window?
No, I don't think that we will this season. Maybe next season. Maybe. I would like to see someone different up there, but I think Kai Havertz could do that job. This season, I think that's what he's going to be doing it for. I don't see us spending big money on a striker this season, but maybe next season.
Next question, and super chat from Chaitanya, regular listener. Thank you very much, Chaitanya.
Thank you.
Big up, Lee. Saliba extension is the most important of all of them. Retaining our top talent has been a problem. Credit to Arteta and Edu on this. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that signing the likes of Saliba, Martinelli, Saka, all those young players, getting them signed on is so important. In the past, we've lost them. And what it tells you is that the youngsters are going to be here for a while, and you're not going to poach our players. And if you are going to poach one of our players, or you are going to get one of them, you're going to have to pay a big fee to get them. But I think that Saliba for me is a massive. They're all massive signings for us, And you know what? I've not been worried about any of them not signing. I think we've done exceptionally well. The way we've gone about it and everything like that. So, big up to everybody that's involved with that, because I think it's very, very important that we keep our young talent, nurture it, and look what it's worth now. A few seasons ago, I looked at it and we couldn't sell anybody. But now you look at all of the players at the football club; they're all big assets, as well as being assets on the field, and now they're massive assets off it. So, well done to the club. Well done to the club.
Okay, next question we have is from Reasonable Doubt, which is a great question. Do Arsenal need to win at the Etihad or Anfield next season if they want to win the league?
Got to beat them at home. I think that's more of a key, winning those home games. I felt realistically our away form was pretty good last season. I think that what let us down to win the league last season was our home form. We dropped too many points at home. But listen, I think if you was to go to the Etihad or Anfield and get a result, a win there, I think that would be a massive boost. I think we got a result at Liverpool last season, and it was tinged with disappointment. That just shows you how far we've come. But yes, to go there and win would be fantastic. But if you said to me now we'd beat them at home and draw them away, I'd take that.
Okay, next one we have is from Matthew again. Lee, do you think Emil Smith Rowe playing the left 8 as an option? Do you see him playing the left 8 as an option?
Yes, I do see it as an option. I think that one thing that with Granit Xhaka is that there was a time in the final third, he couldn't quite have the pace or the quickness of his feet to open up things there, which certainly a Smith Rowe would or a Havertz would do in that thing there. But the one thing that I would worry about is then when we're defensively, if we lose it, I'll go back to that tackle against Newcastle. It was unbelievable from Granit Xhaka. So I think we might lose a little bit defensively, but we're gaining in attack-wise. But, I think that Smith Rowe is going to be a really interesting one come pre-season, because I understand what I've been told is that as soon as the championships are over in England, he's going to join up with the squad and not have a break. He's going to come straight back in. And if he does do that, it'd be interesting to see where he plays, because he's going to be sharp. And where Arsenal are going to play him, it could be on that left side of 8. Could it be as a wide player or as a the false 9, which he's done before as well? It would be really interesting where Smith Rowe's going to fit in. I think because of the Champions League, there's going to be games you're not going to be dropped, are you, this time around? It'd be like being resting for this one, resting for that one. So it'd be really, really interesting. And I'd like to see him, particularly in pre-season, have a go at it and see what he's like there. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, and next question is from BG. Do you think Liverpool have a good chance as us when it comes to challenging Man City, especially with their midfield signing? I mentioned to you before the stream that I think Liverpool will challenge Man City.
Yeah.
What do you think of Liverpool's chances?
Yeah, I do. I think that they will challenge because they've got a fantastic manager in Klopp. I do think, though, that certain players in the team have just gone over their peak, but they're still very, very good players. Or coming down off that peak, but still better than most. I think that they've been unfortunate with injuries over the last couple of seasons. If they can sort that out, as you said, they look like they're sorting their midfield out. And they've got players, match winners all around. So I do think Liverpool will come back. I think it was a massively disappointing season for Liverpool last season. I think it's gone under the radar how poor they were at times. If they were to start off badly, then I think that there's going to be real massive pressure at Liverpool. But I do think that they start off, difficult game, first game of the season away to Chelsea. That'd be an interesting one. But if they get off to a good start, then yes, definitely. But if they don't, I think there could be problems for Liverpool. But I don't see that happening. I think that they'll be right up there.
Cool. Stapes again. Lee, is it now this time for the negativity stop on Arteta?
Yeah, I do think that it is. I don't see why people can always jump down his throat. I think that there's a lot of negativity around it because people not like to be, proven wrong or whatever. Listen, I held my hands up, a few years ago. I didn't think that he would do it. When he first came in, I was really, really impressed with him. But then what I was seeing weren't happening. But, I look back on it now and I think, there was difficult times, COVID, not playing in front of fans, but that was for every manager, every team. But I think over the last couple of seasons, I think that he's really put Arsenal back in with a shout. That Arsenal got no divine right to win leagues and things like that. When I first started supporting Arsenal, I never thought we was ever going to win the league. So we've pushed ourselves into a position now that that we're challenging again. We've only challenged once. We need to do it more often. But I do think, there is a little bit of negativity towards Arteta, which I don't understand. I think, it goes both ways. There's the real negative things that he gets, and then he gets too much, glorified at times. And I think that For me, he should be in the middle a little bit more. Like I think he's done fantastically well, and deserves the backing of the fans. And what I think's great, Dave, from my point of view, is and he's won me over again. He's changed my opinion, and if a manager can change your opinion, he's doing something well, and doing something good. So, and listen, that's how our football should be. It is about opinions. Look what Granit Xhaka done. He turned around all the players, all the supporters, which was unbelievable what he done. So credit to Mikel. I do think it's a little bit harsh, the criticism. I don't really see where that's coming from. I can understand being a little bit doubtful and questioning some of the things that he's done and all that, but there is a little bit too much negative stuff out there for him as well.
You touched on this before. What are your demands as a fan for the upcoming season now that the owners have delivered? Is another trophyless season acceptable?
Oh, no, listen, there's never when you don't win something, it's never acceptable, is it? It's just not very, very nice. Listen, I want to come out of Wembley or come out of wherever. I remember going a few years ago when we lost. We lost the league in 2003, and we then beat Southampton in the cup, and was a little bit disappointed, because we didn't win the league. That's what I want to get back to. Those sort of things, disappointed last season that we didn't win the league. I feel like we need to try and win something next season. But listen, it's very, very difficult when you look at there's only 4 teams only 4 trophies. Only 2 teams won those trophies, and both Manchester teams. So it's going to be difficult. But listen, I'd love us to win the title next season and challenge for it. But if we miss out like we did last season, just missing out and all that, I'm not going to be happy. But at least we're challenging and everything like that. So that's the main thing. The main thing is putting in a serious challenge and being up there to the end of the season, not just in the league, Dave, but also in the Champions League and FA Cup as well. I want us to go deep in every competition.
Okay. This kind of touches with that question. Is a super chat from Zane. Thank you, Zane. Why are we getting rid of Xhaka and Partey if Rice gets injured? Of course, Rice is going to probably play a lot of games, as you can imagine, as a star signing. Why do you think that why are you getting rid of Xhaka and Partey? Obviously, all the competitions.
Yeah, I as I say, I'm surprised by the Partey one, if I'm being honest. Obviously, Granit Xhaka wanted to leave. He wanted a different challenge. So when a player wants to leave and you're coming towards the end of your contract, that's it. They're not going to extend. And I think that's the thing with Partey as well. If he's not going to extend, then you've got to try and get the money, because there is the business side of the game as well. That's unfortunately something that we have to take. Let's see what happens. At the moment in time, it's just rumours about Partey. But if Partey does leave, we're going to have to bring in someone better than him, and that ain't easy. That's not easy. And I can tell you that now, it ain't easy. And I tell you what, you ain't going to get no one cheap. It's going to be very, very expensive as well.
Yeah. Speaking of expensive, Lee, what do you think about rumours? Chelsea are reluctant to pay what Brighton are asking for Caicedo. Of course, Caicedo is one of the targets that Arsenal wanted to by the beginning. It's fell apart. But obviously, what do you think about the price that Brighton want for Caicedo?
Well, I think like it's over 110 million they want, isn't it, or something
it's crazy.
like that.
If they see Declan Rice the same, of course.
Well, yeah, that's ridiculous. He's not worth that. And if that's what they want, they're going to keep him, aren't they? Because I don't think Chelsea were going to pay 110 million or 120 million for him. They just spent that out on the player they bought from. I can't think of his name. Argentina, 105 million they spent on him. So
Enzo Fernandez.
Yeah, Fernandez. Yeah. So for me, look, I'm a big Caicedo fan. I think he's fantastic, but I think 70 million's about right. If I'll be honest, 70, 75, no more than that, really. And if Chelsea want to spend more than that, then good luck them doing it. But I think crazy if they do. But listen, if Arsenal were to get him and sell Partey and get him for 75 million, I would be very happy with that deal, Dave. Very, very happy.
The next one is from Irish Guna. Do you think Nelson is good enough, or do you think we need to invest in a right winger? It's probably backup, obviously, for Saka.
Good
Somebody
question.
mentioned earlier, I think it was, I can't remember, he mentioned Diaby.
It's a good question. Are you going to get someone like Diaby? Are you going to get someone that for 70, 80, 90 million, knowing that they're going to be a backup to Saka? Very, very difficult to get over the line. You know what I mean? So, like, to a player that I don't know has got Juventus, Chelsea challenging him, and well, you can come to us for a backup. I think it's a very, very difficult one. Nelson, as I said earlier on, never let us down last season. Every time he come on, I think he done well. So, and you need good squad players, that are going to come in and do a job 3 or 4 games and come out again. So for me, that would be there. For me, Nelson is okay. You know what I mean? I think someone just said on there, like Pepe back in training with us. Pepe's still there. He's a decent player. A year left of his contract. Don't know what's going to happen for him. I think if we can get money for him, we'll take it. But I think it's going to be difficult to find someone to replace it. I think if we were to get somebody, I think it would be a centre forward, and then you can play the likes of Jesus out there or somebody else than actually going out and getting a Pacific wide right player.
Next one, and I think this is the final question. What do you think about Steve Round leaving, obviously, first assistant to Mikel Arteta?
Yeah,
What do you think about Steve Round leaving?
Surprised, Dave. I am surprised because it looked like there was a good backroom staff. Done fantastically well last season. Whether it's agreed that he was going to go before they had this good season or not, I don't know. It seems like by mutual consent, they say. I don't necessarily worry about it too much. Sometimes you need to just freshen things up on the coaching side. Alex Ferguson done that fantastically well. Arsene Wenger didn't, I think so. So maybe Mikel's looked at that and thought, like, well, it just needs freshening up every couple of seasons. So we'll see how that goes from there. So it'd be interesting to see who comes in as well. So, a little bit surprised. I'm not going to deny that. But at the end of the day, let's see what happens there. And I'm sure Mikel knows what he's doing.
Good stuff. Okay, well, everybody, thanks so much for joining us. Obviously, subscribe and like the video. Lee, any final thoughts after the obviously Saliba new 4-3 contract? Any thoughts going into the next few transfers?
Let's see if we can get a few more over the line. But all of our playing staff and current playing staff is now we've got all that set. Let's see what what's going to come out, so we can get some in.